Today, we are diving into something that's so fundamental to our lives we barely even think about it: crop production. You know, that incredible journey our food takes from a tiny little seed to a thriving plant all the way to a massive silo. It's a story that has literally shaped all of human history. So let's get into it. I mean, have you ever really thought about it? The food on your plate didn't just magically appear there. It represents this entire amazing system of science, history, and a whole lot of human effort. We're going to unpack that whole system right now. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to tackle this in four main parts. First up, we'll look at the very beginning, the dawn of farming. Then we'll follow the process right from the seed to the sprout. After that, we'll see how farmers nurture and protect their crops. And finally, we'll trace that path from the harvest all the way to your home. So where did this whole thing even begin? To understand where we are, we've got to go way back in time, to the moment that changed absolutely everything for human civilization. It all kicked off about 10,000 years ago. Humans had this revolutionary idea. Hey, what if we planted these seeds on purpose? Sounds simple to us, but that one thought changed everything. It meant we didn't have to wander around for food anymore. We could settle down, build communities, and eventually cities. Now, jump way forward on our timeline to the 1960s. This is when the Green Revolution hits, a period of incredible scientific breakthroughs that caused a massive spike in food production and literally saved millions from starvation. So what does that legacy look like today? Well, get a load of this number. 40%. 40% of the entire world's workforce is employed in agriculture. It's just a huge reminder of how much our entire way of life still depends on farming. Okay, so we've had our history lesson, but how does it actually work in the real world right now? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the process, starting with that magical journey from a single seed to a little green sprout. First things first, you can't just plant whenever you feel like it. Timing is absolutely everything. In a place like India, for example, crops are broken down by season. You've got your kharif crops, which are basically monsoon crops like rice and corn. They get sown in June and July because they need a ton of water. Then you have rabi crops, your winter crops, like wheat and peas. They go in the ground in the fall and are harvested in the spring. Whoa, okay, this flowchart might look a little intense, but it's the perfect illustration of what modern farming is all about. It's a science, a step-by-step process, and this is basically our roadmap for the next few minutes. You can see it all starts with preparing the soil and picking the seeds, moves on to watering and weeding, and then wraps up with harvesting and storage. We're going to follow this exact path. So the very first, most crucial step is preparing the soil. You can't just toss seeds onto hard ground and hope for the best. You've got to till it or plow it. So why is that so important? Well, it loosens everything up, letting air get in so the roots can actually breathe. It also makes it easier for those roots to dig down deep, anchor the plant, and soak up all the water and nutrients they need. And this picture? Wow. This just connects us right back to that long history we were talking about. For thousands of years, this was the cutting-edge technology. A simple wooden plow, pulled by animals, turning over the soil. It's such a powerful image of the work that has kept humanity going for centuries. All right, the soil is ready. It's time for sowing. But you can't just throw the seeds around randomly. There are 3 golden rules. 1, you got to start with good quality, healthy seeds. Garbage in, garbage out, right? 2, depth is key. Too deep and the sprout won't make it to the surface. Too shallow and a bird might just come along and have a snack. And 3, you need proper spacing. This way, the plants aren't fighting each other for sunlight, water, and all those good nutrients in the soil. So, the seeds are in the ground. You'd think the hard part's over, right? Not even close. Now comes the really critical stage of nurturing those little plants and protecting them from all kinds of threats. Just like us, plants need to eat. And while the soil has nutrients, hungry crops can use them up pretty fast. So farmers have to add them back. And they do it in 2 main ways. You've got manures, which are natural and organic, great for the overall health of the soil, and then you have fertilizers. Think of these like targeted vitamin supplements for plants. They deliver very specific doses of the big 3: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, or what farmers just call NPK. Next up is water, and obviously this one is a big deal. The process of artificially supplying water to crops is called irrigation, and it's not just about dumping a bunch of water on them, it's about giving them the right amount at exactly the right time, especially when you can't count on the rain. And this is where modern farming gets really, really smart. Instead of just flooding a field and wasting tons of water, today's methods are all about efficiency. On the left, you've got sprinkle systems, which are pretty much what they sound like, artificial rain. But on the right, you have drip irrigation, which is even more precise. It delivers water one drop at a time right to the base of the plant. It saves a huge amount of water, which is just crucial in so many parts of the world. But farming isn't just about providing the good stuff. It's also about fighting off the bad guys. And in this story, the main villains are weeds. As the source says here, they are unwanted plants, and they are ruthless competitors. They steal water, sunlight, and nutrients from the crops you're actually trying to grow, and that can totally crush your final harvest. Farmers are in a constant battle to get rid of them. So, after months and months of hard work, of feeding and watering and fighting off weeds, we finally get to the good part. The crop is mature, and it's time to bring it all in. This is the payoff, where all that effort finally bears fruit, or, grain. Wow, just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got the traditional sickle, a tool that's been used to cut crops by hand for thousands of years. And on the right, the modern combine harvester. This beast of a machine is a total game changer. It cuts the crop, threshes it to separate the grain, and cleans it, all in one go. The leap in efficiency is just mind-blowing. But hold on, just because the crop is cut doesn't mean it's ready for your kitchen. There's still a few essential cleanup steps. First is threshing, which is basically beating the crop to knock the grain loose from the stalk, or the chaff. Then comes winnowing, where you use wind to blow away all that light chaff, leaving the heavier grain behind. Finally, and this is super important, the grain has to be properly stored to keep it safe from moisture and pests. And this is the final destination for so much of our food, these massive silos. You can think of them as giant high-tech pantries for an entire country. They're designed to keep the grain safe and dry for a really long time, which is what ensures we have a stable food supply all year round. So what does the future hold? Well, one of the most powerful tools out there is something called hybridization. It's kind of like scientists are playing matchmaker for plants. They take two different varieties and crossbreed them to create a new one that has the best traits from both parents, like the high yield from one plant and the awesome disease resistance from another. When you think about it, the journey of our food is this incredible story of constant change, from that very first seed planted by hand to the amazing technology we have today. And the challenge now is enormous. How do we feed billions more people on a planet that's constantly changing? So the question we're all left with is, what's the next chapter in the story of our food going to look like?